Hey Stampers! Today I want to share with you how to make this fabulous easel card that lights up. Okay, now I do have to tell you that right now I have an actual lit candle in mine. I do not advise this. I'm in the hunt for some of the battery operated ones, but I'd like to take a couple of minutes and show you how to go about making this fabulous easel Halloween card. Okay, our supply list is quite long for this project. We will be using a piece of basic black cardstock that is cut 4 1/4 by 10 3/4. This is the base of our card. It will be scored at 5 1/2 inches. In addition, we will also be using a 4 1/4 by 6-inch piece of basic black cardstock, scored 1/4 of an inch on the top. We'll be using some of our new Halloween Designer Series paper in our holiday catalog. This piece was 4 by 5 1/4. A piece of vellum cardstock. The vellum cardstock is 2 1/4 by 3 1/4. A piece of basic black cardstock that is cut 2 1/2 by 3 1/4. A piece of pumpkin pie, which is 4 inches by 1 1/2 inches, and another piece of basic black, which is 3 3/4 by 1 1/4. In addition to that, we are going to be using 2 stamp sets, one from our holiday catalog called Halloween Bash, and the other one from our big idea booking catalog called Seasonal Sayings. We will be needing our bone folder, some Versamark ink, sticky strip, embossing buddy, some of our brand new orange glitter found in the holiday catalog, some black embossing powder, our square framelets, and then to decorate our envelope, we're also going to be using our envelope liner framelets. Are you ready to see how this comes together? Let's go. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to take my piece of DSP and my card front, which has the score on it, and on the back side of the score I'm going to put, I have a little piece of sticky strip. We're going to hold that off for now, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little teeny bit of adhesive, I mean a little bit, just to hold my DSP from sliding on the card, okay? And I'm going to take my Big Shot and using my magnetic platform, which if you don't have one of these magnetic platforms, I'm sorry for you because this is a fabulous product and you definitely want to get on the wait list for when they become back available in stock because they have been sold out. So I'm putting my project onto my magnetic plate and I'm using my 2-inch square framelit. And what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be cutting through both the DSP and the cardstock a 2 by 2 square. So let me do that and I'll be right back. Okay, so my 2 by 2 piece is cut out, but that's not quite big enough for the greeting that I want to put on here. So I am going to go ahead and use the same framelit, but I'm only going to go up about a 1/2 of an inch, maybe 3/4 of an inch, and I'm going to cut a second time. Okay, so now that I've done that, you will see that my cutout is actually rectangular in shape, which is exactly what I'm looking for. I'm going to go ahead and take the DSP off of my card because I'm going to be now working with my vellum that's going to go in between. So let me get the vellum and everything that we need for this next phase of the project. Okay, so using my embossing buddy, I'm just going to run that over my vellum cardstock. I'm going to ink up my Celebrate a Creepy Crawly Halloween stamp, which comes from the Halloween Bash stamp set. And I'm going to stamp that on my vellum. And I'm going to emboss it with black embossing powder. Through the magic of TV, I have embossed my piece of vellum cardstock, so you should be able to see that that's all nice and shiny black. Now I've taken my piece of black cardstock, which is 2 1/2 by 3 1/4. This is going to be the frame on the front of the card. Remember, this is the card, so it's going to be the frame on the front of the card that needs to also be cut out with the framelits. So what I did was I laid it on the piece of cardstock. I turned it over and I traced so I know a general idea of where to cut out with my framelit. So this is going to be very difficult for you to see on the camera, but I'm going to go ahead and go off camera, and I'm going to use my square framelit, and I'm going to cut this frame out, and I'll be right back. Okay, so our frame is now ready, and are you ready to see how this goes together? Here we go. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to take my card front that I have put the piece of sticky strip, I want the sticky strip laying down. Okay, I'm going to take my regular snail adhesive, and I'm going to put some around all 4 sides of my cutout. I'm going to lay my embossed piece of vellum face side up, centered in my rectangle. Perfect. And then I'm going to put some adhesive around again, and I'm going to then glue my piece of designer series paper so that it lines up with the rectangular opening as well. Perfect, almost there. So this is what we have so far. And now I'm going to take the frame that I created, and I'm going to put some adhesive on that as well. That will get glued to the front of the card to frame it off. And so now here's the front of our card, and we have the vellum in between the 2 layers so that it is sure not to fall out. Are you ready to see how the rest of the card is going to go together? Here we go. Okay, taking our card base, which is 4 1/4 by 10 3/4 inches long, scored at 5.5 inches. The top side of the card is 1/4 of an inch longer than the bottom side. We want to work with the tall side. We're going to peel the piece of sticky strip. It is going to get glued to the top back side of our card, kind of looking inside out, which is okay, so that it looks like this. Now the purpose of this is so that when the card gets closed, the bottom will fold up inside. So it's going to be kind of like it'll be a tri-fold card. Okay, and now we're going to make the easel portion. So here we go with that easel portion, which is going to get mounted down here to the bottom of the card. Okay, so for the easel portion, I'm going to take my pumpkin pie cardstock. My pumpkin pie is 4 inches by 1.5 inches, and I'm going to put dimensionals on the back. I love these long skinny ones that are on the outside edge, so I'm just going to use those. Okay, and again, this is for my easel portion of the card. So I'm going to stick this to the bottom portion of the card so that I have a 1/4 inch border on 3 sides of the card. Now the purpose of the dimensionals is so that when the card is in its upright easel position, there is a little bit of a lip for the front of the card to rest on. Now we're going to work on the greeting that's going to go here that you're going to be able to see when the card is open. I'm using my basic black cardstock, which is 3 1/4 by 3 3/4 by 1 1/4. And what I'm going to do is use my embossing buddy first. I'm going to get it all inked up there. I'm using a greeting from the seasonal sayings set that says Happy Halloween, and I'm using Versamark ink. So I'm going to do my best to center that greeting in Versamark. And then I've got my powder tray handy, and I have our new orange glitter, and I'm going to dump that glitter on my Happy Halloween. Isn't that awesome? Okay, so now we have our greeting for our card. So let's put that, and again, based on the dimensions that I've used, we should have a 1/4 inch border all the way around on all 4 sides this time. And there we have our greeting. So now we have our easel card. Going to your local department store, you should be able to find our little battery-operated tea lights, which will go in here so you won't have any hazards, and you'll have a beautiful, lighted Halloween card. Thank you so much for tuning in to